Hey guys, it's the Chads, and today I just wanted to touch on this whole wobbling issue. Last week, the Big House banned wobbling from its rule set, and I wanted to give my opinion on it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why should I listen to this Ice Climber's main's opinion on wobbling? It's obviously going to be biased. But the thing is, I put a lot of time into this character, and I feel like I have a good grasp of their strengths and weaknesses, how to beat them, and yeah. So personally, I don't think wobbling should be banned, but I wouldn't be surprised if it does get banned at other tournaments. I feel like people just don't want to learn the matchup and learn the counterplay to wobbling, because I mean it's frustrating to play against whether you win or lose. But that's not really a reason to ban it though, because that's also subjective towards other things. Like no matter what character I'm playing as, I don't like playing against Marth, but I would never wish for a Marth ban. That would just be outrageous, right? I feel like you should only ban something if it's three things: degenerate, if it over centralizes metagame, and if it lacks valid counterplay options. Take for instance Pheromosa from Pokemon Sun Moon. So in Gen 7 OU, Pheromosa was dominant. It was basically only countered by Toxapex. Now, even though Toxapex was a legitimate counter to Pheromosa, it was really the only counter, and it forced you to run Toxapex to counter Pheromosa. So, if you didn't run Pex, you would insta-lose, basically. You had the potential to just insta-lose. So even though it had counterplay, it wasn't legitimate and it wasn't enough. Now compare that to wobbling. I don't think that's the case. I feel like every top tier character has legitimate tools to beating Ice Climbers with or without wobbling. In my opinion, there are two keys to beating Ice Climbers: not getting grabbed and killing Nana. If you kill Nana, getting grabbed doesn't really matter. So every character has, most top tiers have the ability to do that. Fox can cover a lot of his aerials with shine, so even if you try to shield grab neutral air, if you do it low on their shield, you can shine before they try to grab. Same thing with Falco, on top of the fact that they can space around the grab. Fox can shine spike Nana. Falco can kill Nana off the top of the stage, especially with lower ceilings if he does like shine to up B. Falco can spike Nana pretty easily, because remember, Nana doesn't DI, SDI, tech, or any of these defensive counterplay options. Marth can space around the grab pretty easily, spike Nana. Sheik can kill Nana pretty easily. Kind of struggles when it comes to spacing around grab, but if you do split up the climbers, you should almost always kill Nana as Sheik, because Nana doesn't DI or anything, and you could just slap her off the stage or down smash pretty easily. Yeah. Puff, you can get a free rest against Nana and just space around the grab with back airs. Peach just obliterates Ice Climbers. Falcon can space around with his aerials, knee Nana off the stage, and Meteor Smasher, because she can't Meteor cancel.
I think Nun is a huge voice on this. I think that Nun just sucks at the Icy matchup. He's actually god awful at the Icy matchup. I'm pretty sure he misses his L cancels on shield, and then he gets grabbed. And he blames Ice Climbers for it. He needs to, if you look at Wizzy, if you look at STJ versus Ice Climbers, those guys body Ice Climbers. It's ridiculous how good those guys are against Ice Climbers. So
Samus can zone out Ice Climbers. Every character has the ability to beat Ice Climbers. There's legitimate counterplay with every single character. Now, the Big House gave its reasons to why wobbling should be banned. First of all, I have never heard a single good argument for banning wobbling. There are some good arguments, but they're kind of refutable. So it says wobbling will be banned in the Melee rule set this year at the Big House, and I want to use this blog post to explain my reasoning for the decision. What is wobbling? This event's definition of wobbling is a series of moves, 4+ pummel effects by Ice Climbers, from a standing grab position that infinitely lock the opponent in hit stun. This applies to Melee only. Why ban it now? A long time ago, the Big House was one of the last majors to unban wobbling. So why the wobbling reban? Well, it gave 3 reasons. Okay, so it continues to lead to miserable play patterns and tournament experiences. I don't care. If you don't have fun playing against wobbling, that's normal, but that's not a reason to ban it. just get good, learn how to get around it. It's universally like disliked, but then again, there are also other subjective things that you could have when it comes to disliking something, but that doesn't make it banned material. So its explanation was, wobbling disproportionately rewards the grabbing player for winning a single neutral game interaction, while invalidating defensive options for the grab player with no opportunity to escape using traditional melee defensive mechanics such as stage positioning and DI. Alright, so here's the problem with that. As I mentioned before, Nana cannot DI or SDI or use any defensive mechanics to escape combos. The only way Nana can escape a combo is if Popo hits the opponent out of it. And if the opponent is able to separate them well enough, that shouldn't be possible. You should be able to gimp Nana fast enough, stuff her double jump, and kill her. With most characters, this is possible to split them up. And it's pretty easy to remove Nana from the game.
If you didn't know this, if you pick Yoshi's Story and you shine Ice Climbers from the center of the stage, Nana dies. It's the stupidest shit ever. But yeah, if you ever want to beat Ice Climbers, you pick Yoshi's Story as Fox and you shine the climbers once, and then Nana dies immediately. So you're done. See? It's not easy. She dies instantly. That happens to me every single stock whenever I play a Fox on Yoshi's Story. And Ice Climbers have a hard time countering that because they're so slow. And they're like trying to grab the ledge, they're trying to like up air Fox and they miss, they start panicking because their Nana's about to die. And then Fox is like aware of that, so they take advantage of it.
In my opinion, at least, the Ices player being able to grab the opponent is harder than the opponent being able to kill Nana. Because Ice Climbers have limited grab range, and shield grabbing is terrible because that can just be beaten by spacing around it, hitting low on the shield with aerials, and also since Ices have low traction, they get pushed back further than normal characters. So notoriously, say Falco F smash, if Falco forward smashes a shield, usually he'll get punished for it, but against Ices, because of their small grab range and the fact that they get pushed back so far, Falco can stay out of grab range after forward smashing their shield, which is kind of dumb, but whatever. So anyways, this puts a ridiculously high weight on technical gameplay revolving around grabs. While not necessarily overpowered at the highest levels of gameplay, the effects of wobbling should be considered for attendees of all skill levels. No, it shouldn't. Like, if you're a major tournament, you need to factor in the top level as the main level of play. This isn't a local. If this was a local or a net play tournament, I could completely understand wanting to talk about all skill levels, but this is a major tournament. Like, you can't just say, oh, we need all skill levels to be happy. Like, yeah, but like at the same time, if you're not good at the matchup, it doesn't matter whether you're happy or not about the effects of wobbling. You should just get good. Like, it's not that difficult of a matchup. It's annoying, but it's mainly, I like to describe it as a matchup where it's a simple task with no margin for error. It's like if you have to throw a ball up in the air and catch it 5 times in a row. And if you do that, you win. If you don't, you get stabbed with a knife. That's kind of what wobbling is like, playing into wobbling Ice Climbers. Alright, I want to be sensitive to community feedback that creates miserable playing and viewing experiences. Again, that doesn't mean you ban the technique. You can't ban a technique because people don't like it. You can only ban it because it's overpowered, it over-centralizes the metagame, while also being degenerate. And that's not what wobbling is. It's just degenerate. That's all it is.
Let me just pull up a random video on YouTube right now. So I'm going to look at my video of me versus Mango at Smash Summit. It has 83,000 views. So people are making the argument that nobody wants to watch Ice Climbers. I have a video where I'm fighting against Mango and it has 83,000 views. And then I have another video of me fighting Mewtwo King and that has like 100,000 views. I have like multiple videos where I have like multiple 100,000s of views.
Okay, so next they say it doesn't fit the skill set criteria that we subjectively deem valuable to test in a tournament match. Just like how various stages have been banned over the years because they take away from what makes Melee so deep, wobbling doesn't fit the criteria for what we deem valuable to test in a competitive setting. For example, Hyrule Temple is banned because the cave area of the stage creates degenerate character interactions. Poker floats is banned because the scrolling aspect of the stage creates a non-interactive requirement to move laterally. A wobbling ban is not fundamentally different from any other subjective rule set decision, and it forces play patterns that we do not deem valuable to test our competitors with at this time. So what is he? But the thing is, what do you mean by play patterns? Do you mean the Icy's player being able to get the openings for a grab? Do you mean the opponent being able to subvert the grab or like defeat Icy's grab? Are you saying that spacing around it is not valuable? Are you saying that making sure that you hit your aerials low on someone's shield to beat their shield grab or beat grab space around them? Are you saying that's not valuable? Are you saying spacing is not a valuable skill that is that you should test in a tournament match?
On Twitter today, I think Axe and Mita King are very, very vocal on Twitter about banning wobbling. So it's no surprise that these guys are going to be super vocal about wobbling because they always lose to wobbling. Mita King has like the worst spacing on shield against ice climbers.
Like, think about playing Ices and playing Marth as Fox. Let's say you're playing Fox against Marth. How do you beat Marth? Well, you defeat his grabs, that way you don't get chain grabbed, and when you get an opening, you punish him hard and try to gimp him or try to get as much damage. Same thing with ice climbers. How do you beat them? You defeat their grab, and then when you get an opening, you try to kill Nana. It's basically the same thing. It's just that it's probably harder to space around Marth's grab because it has a longer range. You're probably not going to be able to do it. You just need to try to stuff it when he tries to go for a shield grab. You try to shine him before he can grab you. Like, if you're saying that like fundamental skills like spacing around moves, like so that way you don't get punished, is not valuable. Like, I understand that the actual punishment of getting grabbed by ice climbers is worse than getting grabbed by Marth, but at the same time, the basic principle of spacing and avoiding moves that can potentially dominate a matchup, that's fundamental. That's a valuable skill.
Beating the first type of grab is a matter of doing your aerial a lot later than you normally would. You can also think of it as hitting lower to the ground than before or lower on their shield. Here are the Marth attempts to shield grab in between the downer and the shine. As you can see, Falco's shine hits before Marth's grab can connect.
Alright, so next, it's what the majority of in-person tournament attendees prefer right now. Again, what's their reasoning for that? Because they don't like it, or they can't win against it? Like, if you can't win against it, or you don't like it, or it's annoying to play against, that's not ban-worthy. Something should only be ban-worthy if it's degenerate, which wobbling is, but it's not over-centralizing, and there's legitimate counterplay that the majority of viable characters can execute, or just the majority of characters can execute. Like, even Ganondorf destroys ice climbers. Like, you can just kill Nana in like 2 hits. So as a TO, it's best to balance what I think is healthiest for the game and what the attendees prefer, and in recent months the pendulum has swung back towards a preference by attendees for wobbling to be banned. This wasn't necessarily the case a couple years ago, but I believe the overall sentiment was skewed for a long time by EVO's wobbling legal stance. After all, it's hard for TOs to go against the rule set of the biggest event of the year, and I'm certainly guilty in some capacity too. As with any rule set updates, I encourage TOs to think freely and make decisions best for their event. At this point, I value attendees' feedback above all else, and it's time to go back to our big house roots there. Again, like, no, wobbling's legality is not because, oh, EVO legalized it. It's because there's legitimate counterplay to wobbling. It's just that nobody wants to do it. They just want to ban it because they don't like it.
And similarly, like, wobbling, like, look, I get it. It's lame. I agree. It's been in the game for a long time. I don't know how you just noticed, but it is lame. But your character probably beats ice climbers. So, like, there's counterplay. There's things you can do in the matchup, blah, blah, blah.
Like, if I hate wobbling, like, I can easily just pick Puff and just hit and kill Nana and then just kind of stall the whole game out. But is that, like, the product we want?
Are you making the claim that, like, Melee played at its end is this? Because I don't think it is.
I mean, it's not for a lot of matchups, but, like, let's say your opponent plays Ice Climbers, right? Then, like, you can kill Nana early and just top platform camp, and that's something that, like, Spark does. That's something a lot of Foxes and Falcons are beginning to do, right? Yeah. The Kaons and...
You're saying beginning. This has been, like, the standard game plan against Ice Climbers for a decade.
Yeah, but, like, most people aren't willing to play it to that.
What? They've always been doing it. Like Okami against Fly, bro. Like literally everyone. This is the only way to play against Ice Climbers for going on a decade. Like this is kind of where I'm at. Where I'm like, none of this is new. None of this is like news to. It shouldn't be news to anyone. I don't think there's a higher proportion of this relatively than it's been. This is just how you play against Ice Climbers, and maybe like sometimes this is a silly statement, but sometimes empathy goes too far, man. I think people just need to call people out for being fucking scrubs. Like, yeah, it sucks you got wobbled, bro. No, tell them don't do that. Like, don't do the early aerial on the fucking Ice Climber shield. Teach the kids to not, so that they never make that mistake again. That's actually an adequate solution, so they understand that they have options.
Like, me and Bradick were literally clowning on this dude on Twitter because he thought that Ice Climbers could 0 to death Pikachu with a down throw chain grab. It was idiotic, to say the least. It's not, like, as from a TO's perspective, I could understand you want to cater to the majority of players. Like, that's fair. But here's the thing. Ice Climbers are already a bad character. They're not that good. Like, most characters beat them, and, like, Fox probably wins the matchup. I don't think so. I think it's more even, because that's just me, but Fox probably wins. Falco probably wins. Marth wins. Sheik loses. Puff bodies Ice Climbers. Peach bodies Ice Climbers. Falcon I guess wins. Pikachu loses. That's like two winning matchups for Ices. The rest are probably either even or losing. That's it. Like Samus beats Ice Climbers. Like Ganondorf beats Ice Climbers. Luigi can play pretty well against Ice Climbers. Like, why now you're gonna take away their biggest strength? How is that healthy for the game? That you're gonna probably take something away from a character and risk taking them out of viability. Like, they're already barely viable as is at top level play. Nobody has ever won a tournament. I don't think anybody has ever won a major in the past 6 years. Like, since wobbling has been legalized, nobody has ever won a major. Wobbles got second. That's the highest somebody has ever placed. Second place. Like, Chudak got second at, like, whatever the tournament was called, I forget. Winning with Ice Climbers is already difficult as is, no matter what player's playing as them. Now you're going to take away their biggest strength, which is wobbling. I understand it's annoying. Nobody's disputing that. If you like wobbling, you're probably a psychopath, but again, the majority of players don't like it, but that's not something that you ban it. That's not why you should ban it, because that's the literal reason why they chose to ban it. Like, miserable play patterns. The majority of attendees prefer right now. Like, this is BS. Like, deemed valuable skills. Apparently spacing is not a valuable skill. Like, I just don't see why you should ban the technique. I haven't heard a compelling argument yet. I just think people need to figure out this matchup, because banning wobbling is not the answer.